And good afternoon. Welcome to today's broadcast of the RS Warrior Wallet with mortgage loan broker extraordinaire Kevin Laurer. And welcome to another edition of we talk about mortgages and the housing market and what the emerging trends is. Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Doing good. How you doing, George?
Oh, pretty good. Um, for those who don't, we usually come on Wednesdays at 12:30, and Kevin is one of he represents Revolution Mortgage, which is here in Columbus, Ohio, but is licensed in every state except the state of New York. And so, if you're looking for a mortgage or you're looking for refinance or have questions, reach out to Kevin. And we go from there. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is what do you foresee as the market what do you see as the market trends for housing in the next 60 90 days and maybe down the road 6 months to a year?
Yeah, great question. So things obviously vary depending on where you are, what state you're in, what city you're in, and all that. I mean, here in Central Ohio, I mean, things are crazier than they've ever been. This time of the year, it always slows down. It just seems to happen every single year where people don't really want to list their home. They might not want to move in the cold. A lot of people want to host for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that. So they don't really want to necessarily have their house to where they can list it if they do want to move. So things usually slow down this time of year where there's not as much inventory out there. Unfortunately, no, there's still tons and tons and tons of people who are trying to buy. So all that does is just makes it even more competitive for the homes that are available. So it's been pretty bad the last couple of weeks as far as trying to submit offers for people. The competition's as crazy as it's ever been. I mean, typically, kind of more towards March is when it starts to warm up, and that's when people actually want to start listing their homes again. So usually prices are down a little bit when it's cold like this. Inventory is always down. People that want to buy still out there. But as things warm up, prices usually increase and more homes will come available. So it's still going to be an inventory issue. It's been that way for like the last 18 months, almost 2 years now, where there's just more people that want to buy than there are homes available. And I'm speaking specifically here for Central Ohio, and it is like that in a lot of other areas as well. But as far as
Chris, do you mind me thank you for commenting. Chris, what part of Michigan are you in? If you don't mind me asking, what city? I think a lot of that is there, and what's really weird is there are communities that the inventory is very low. Adrian University's up there, right?
Yeah, it's most major cities inventory is down. So I mean, I can't specifically name any areas I know of off the top of my head where they don't have an inventory problem. It's just down everywhere because
California maybe, but I mean,
yeah, I mean they don't count for anything though. We don't include them.
Yeah, I got to tell you, California is there's a lot of there's a lot of cities that are losing population, and one of the things that I've seen is there's some like Youngstown, and there are some cities in Ohio that are Canton area, their people are just leaving, but for the most part this is a trend that's going across the US, and I think it's going to wind up I think it's going to wind up getting I don't know if it's going to get better or worse. I mean, what do you think?
I don't think it's I don't think it's going to get any better. I mean, like I said, it's really based on the city and the location. I mean, here in Columbus, I've always said we're kind of a younger city compared to a lot of other places. We're still growing. I mean, the cost of living here, the cost of real estate here, if you want to try to compare us to other larger, older cities, I mean, it really is very affordable. I mean, I predict that something that's 350,000 here, I mean, in the next 10 years could potentially be $500,000-600,000, no problem. I mean, there's still a lot of companies that are moving here. Somebody commented there, Dean, about the chip plant. If I believe that's a go. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely going to drive prices up. I mean, it's basically creates the issue when, it goes back to your basics of supply and demand. There's more people that are moving here. There're gonna be some big wigs that want nice houses. They're gonna be able to and willing to pay way over asking price and value, and that's just going to increase the averages, and it's going to drive prices up more and more and more. I mean, there are a lot of new builds happening, so I mean that's something where people are starting to move 20-30 minutes outside of Columbus just because they can get that new build, and it was a little bit less expensive in some of those areas, but all those areas are starting to go up now too. I mean, Central Ohio, you're talking Columbus inside the 270 loop it's pretty much landlocked. There's not much area where they can go and build anything. So that's
I mean, if you take a look at even some of the areas that the only thing inside of 270 that isn't that maybe you could build on everything is the south end, and even then it's there's just not a lot of places down there off of Refugee and
right.
But I mean, that's the thing with outer belts, that you wind up having any city that's got a major outer belt, or even Indianapolis is the same thing. It's built the same pattern. I think the thing that concerns me though is that as the inventory is low and low and low, what are people going to do about getting an apartment, or are there going to be enough jobs out there for people to afford it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think about that all the time. I mean, there's constantly new construction going on. I mean, the inventory issue causes rent to be more expensive, and I think this all has a trickle down effect, and it almost circles back to itself. The low inventory on houses, it's causing people to seek out possibly renting more, and then because more people are seeking out the renting and there's less rentals available, it's causing the prices to go up. And then it circles back to where people are like, okay, if those prices are expensive to lease a place, I'm just going to buy. So it's just like this big circle that it's creating, and the inventory's down on everything. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here as it warms up and see how many people are planning on selling and buying. I mean, then you have the fear where a lot of people don't want to list their home until they've locked down a place to find that they can move into, and then they complain where I got to pay all this extra money now. But it's kind of an even trade-off, because you're getting the extra income from, or not income, you're getting the extra money from selling your home. So yeah, you got to spend a little bit more on a home now too. But I mean, in Columbus, I've seen some of these areas that are going up close to 20% in a year. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. We've never had increases like this ever.
Yeah, but and let me ask you this. I mean, with the increase, do you see, with every increase, you wind up seeing a bubble? Do you think the bubble will hit? Do you think there eventually would be a bubble?
I mean, as long as we have this inventory issue like this, I just don't think it's really creating a bubble. I think it's just gradually going up and up and up. And I mean, I don't think there's going to be something to happen where it's going to crash and burn. I think we're just going to slowly start increasing value, and we'll see. I don't know when it's going to stop. If people are wanting to move here, if businesses are still building things here, if this is still a city where people want to live, then it's going to be that supply and demand issue. I think until we can solve the inventory issue, and if a lot of new places are built, and these companies are trying, these construction companies and the big places that are building the communities and all the cookie cutter neighborhoods and all that. I mean, they're trying to get caught up, but with COVID just putting everything slower on everything, the supplies not being available, and the cost being more to do everything. It's just been a really, really big equation here that's slowing everything down. It's all fed into each other, and it's just causing a lot of issues. So until we can get the inventory thing fixed, I don't think there's going to be a cap or a bubble or any type of weird explosion. It's just going to continue to go up. It's just the simple supply and demand thing. That's really what it is. There's nothing out there, and the people that have been looking for houses forever, they're offering 30K over on something that's 250, 300,000. It's insane. I had somebody over the weekend that offered about 25 over on a 250-ish house, and somebody beat him out. Somebody beat him out, even a higher offer.
So what happens in that situation? Let's say they offered 25 over appraised. Do they take that money out of pocket?
Yeah. So if you're getting a mortgage, the lender is always going to give you the amount that the home will appraise for minus your down payment. So if you write in your offer, you can, if something's listed for 300,000, you can offer $1 million on it, right? But if you
Right.
don't have anything in there saying that you're going to bring the extra money covering the appraisal shortage, then your offer really has no validity. You got to write that in the contract. So most
Chris,
experienced agents
Chris
will know
says.
that.
So, how do you think that the market is going to combat those prices? That's a good question, Chris. I don't know. Kevin, what do you think? I mean, do you think that we just have to adjust for this for the time being, and then just wait till the
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. The people that have the money are going to outbid the people that don't, and it's just what's going to happen, and that's what's been happening. I mean, there's no combating it. It is what it is. I mean, it's if you go to the grocery store and you want a gallon of milk, you're going to pay that price, are you not? I mean, you can't sit there and not get what you need. I mean, it's either you keep renting or you stay in the home you have and you don't move. But I mean, there's really not much we can do about it. If there's people out there that want to spend the money, then they're causing a spike in price and an increase overall in the areas that this is happening in. So I don't think there's any way to combat it. It is what it is. It's one of those things you just can't do anything about. I mean, unless everybody said, okay, we're all going to stop looking for houses for a few months. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Let me ask you a question. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of. I watched the movie The Big Short, but I'm a big fan of that movie. The MBS, the mortgage-backed securities that happen in the market have. Do you?
Right.
Let me ask you this, and I mean, I know this is a big reach for this, but could you foresee something like that happening again?
I mean, a lot of that was with the values being inflated and issues happening with appraisals, and it's kind of a different thing. And that's, the whole way that you qualify somebody for a mortgage now, and the process has changed. So, I mean, I don't think something like that could happen. I mean, anything's possible, of course. But, it would be one of those things where we would have to have this crazy spike where everything went up extreme in value because it would happen long enough. And if that's happening, then, I think the value is going to be there to support it. It would have to be something weird where everybody decided to move out of a certain area and all the home values across the board would drop for something like that to happen. I mean, it's happening quickly, it's happening faster than we've seen before, but it's not like it's overnight. So, I mean, it's a gradual increase. So I think it's just going to continue to gradually increase. As long as there's all these people wanting to buy something, it's not going to just magically explode overnight and the market's going to crash. It's not going to be there.
Right.
And it's possible.
Right. And I think the other thing too is that people have been putting money into I think people have been putting money into the market because of nothing else other than the fact it's that it's safe.
Yeah, it's definitely safe. I mean, it's a good investment right now. I mean, people that are able to are buying extra houses too. I mean, somebody earlier here said talking people with cash offers. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing cash offers. Most of the time, that's going to be the investors, and it kind of sucks that a lot of the investors are taking homes away from people that need to actually live there, and obviously they're looking to either sit on it for a year or so and just sell it to make the increase in money. But that's a problem all the way across the country where people come in with cash offers, and typically with a cash offer, the one thing they do a lot of times they're going to stay at list price or even offer less. For some reason, it's just kind of a standard where if you're offering cash, for some reason they think that because of that they should get the house for less. So typically the people that are financing things are going to be the ones that are going to go more aggressively for the offer because they actually want to live there. A cash offer, they think because it's cash, they can go at list or a little less. And you got to remember too, if they're offering cash, they're most likely looking to make that money on the home. So the cash offers typically are not going to always win just because they're looking to make money. So they're not going to go way over list because they're not going to wait around for the 5 years they would need for the price to increase that much.
Right. Well, and then the other thing is that you've got investors that are putting their money into that, just are putting their money into, to buying houses just because they can. I mean, they just, it's a safe, it's better than the stock market. It's better than.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you buy something now and wait until this time next year or this time in April, I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed to make money. I mean, it could, obviously the higher the home, the more you're going to make. I mean, a $500,000 home could potentially go up 25, 30,000 just in a year.
Right.
What the market is. So, a $100,000 home might only go up 3,000 to 7,000 or something like that. So somebody that had the money to buy an expensive home like that, whether it's an investment or to live in it for a year or rent it out for a year, I mean, obviously you're looking to gain more money by purchasing something more expensive. So,
right.
But a lot of times the investors don't want to go after those bigger homes either. They want to pay for something cash that's needs some updating or a little bit of a rehab, and then put a little money in it and make their money off of it. So you typically don't have as many cash offers on those more expensive homes, but there still are people out there doing it because they know they can make more on it.
Right. Even what the big increase has been too is homes that can go rent to Section 8, and those things are really going up to. Yeah, I mean, it's just we live in interesting times. I mean, I don't think that anybody foresaw this.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is history that we're living in here. The increases, the interest rates going lower than they've ever been in the history of mortgages. I mean, it's all history right here, man. We're living in it. We're living and breathing in it right now. It's definitely it's hard to predict. I mean, it's just like, I mean, the crash in 08. I mean, no one was really predicting that either. Things happened a little bit faster and fell apart pretty quickly then, but this is this gradual increase where I don't foresee things exploding or going down in value. If people stopped wanting to come to this city or to other desirable cities where it's also happening, then maybe. But it's not like all of a sudden overnight everyone's going to say, oh, we don't want to go and live there anymore. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean it's and I think the problem is too is that there's just no easy solutions for this. I mean, you've got to build homes, you've got to but
they can't get homes up fast enough. They really can't.
And on top of that, I mean, there are cities with declining population, but nobody, if people aren't there moving there, I mean, I want to pull that up for a second. Wow. The 5 metros lost people in 2020. Worcester, Massachusetts, Poughkeepsie, New York, Baltimore, New Orleans, Lansing, Michigan, and San Diego and Providence, Rhode Island. Wow.
They lost the most population?
Yeah, they lost the 10 fastest shrinking cities. Charleston, West Virginia, San Juan, New Mexico, Decatur, Illinois, Weirton, Steubenville, Ohio, Wheeling, West Virginia, Danville, Illinois. Yeah, I mean, it just people are just shifting, and I think they're Pittsburgh is shrinking, Birmingham, Alabama is shrinking, Memphis, Tennessee is shrinking, Chicago, Naperville is shrinking, Rochester, New York is shrinking, Hartford, Connecticut is shrinking, Cleveland is shrinking, Detroit is shrinking.
Yes, I mean, areas like that where
Buffalo.
I mean, they're not. They're obviously not going to have that inventory issue.
Milwaukee is shrinking. Wow. Baltimore, Columbia, Townsend, Maryland, and then number 1 is St. Louis, Missouri. Wow.
Baltimore's always been a little crazy. You've got that really bad area right next to the nice area, so that really doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, it's America. People are moving out of American large cities, and I think that people are like Austin, Texas grew, Fort Worth grew, Seattle, Tampa, Tucson grew. New York lost people, Boston, wow. I mean, it's a weird trend that we're in right now, and I don't know if this is going to keep up or not. I mean, it just seems that we're going to have some interesting times. So,
Absolutely.
anyway, I just wanted to keep, I know today's just going to be a short show because we didn't have Annie on, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about trends, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, let me ask you this. What's your best advice right now that you could give to anybody out there, looking for a house or looking to, looking to get a house or to move on?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do is talk to the loan officer and get a good plan together, especially if you've got a lot of questions or if you've got any reasons why you think you might need some help getting approved. I just had somebody earlier where talked to them months ago, and they ended up not getting the house they wanted to, and they didn't really want to listen to advice on how to get their credit score up. And here we are now, magically 4 months later, where if they would have done what I asked them to then, we'd be in a situation where their score would be better. And of course, they just kind of blew that off because they didn't get that house, so they just put it off. So it's one of those things where it's definitely good to listen to your loan officer's advice. I can help anybody out that needs it. But if you're wanting to move or downsize, upsize, whatever you want to do, I mean, this time of year, you just got to have patience. I mean, save up extra money if you can. I wouldn't never advise anybody to be doing these crazy $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 offers over list. I mean, if you've got the money and you want to do it, that's up to you. You just got to think about how long it's going to take for your home to actually go up to that value. But just listen.
And that's the thing that too is I think that with people buying and paying over list, I think that they're going to be stuck in that house for a while. But I think they're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are too. If it's something they really want. But that's the other thing. It's the market is just it's so fast. Everything happens so fast, and it's frustrating and it's irritating. So you really need to kind of slow down if you can. Make sure you really do like the home. A lot of people are waiving inspections now, so their offer's cleaner. I mean, I just wouldn't ever want to do that. So there's a lot of things happening that are not normal. So kind of slow down, pump the brakes, make sure you're working with an agent that is very experienced, knows what they're doing. Same on the lending side. Get with somebody that's been doing this a long time. Don't just go with some online lender. I mean, a lot of times they're just not going to care about you.
Right.
You're not going to get the attention you deserve. So make sure you build a relationship. Talk to a couple different people. It's a big purchase. So make sure it's a good fit and you can trust them, and you're not working with a used car salesman. You just don't want to get yourself in that situation. But you got to have patience this time of year. And anybody out there that's been looking, things will get better. More houses will come available here as it warms up. This is the trend every single year. So by the time we're in our summer months of July, it'll be full stream ahead. So we'll just gotta have patience right now, and obviously save up what you can. Makes things easier. Even if you can do a $5,000 appraisal gap, anything's going to help when you're putting in an offer. Just having a little bit of extra money.
Right. All right, Kevin, it's always a pleasure. Like I said, Kevin Lohr from Revolution Mortgage Loan Specialist Extraordinaire. And thank you again for listening to VRS. And we will see you here next week.